What do successful Cambridge English exam students have in common? What is it that they do that unsuccessful students don't do? Well, I've been helping people prepare for the Cambridge English exams for about 15 years now. And over that time, I have observed what common characteristics the successful students have that the unsuccessful students don't have. What do they do differently? And today I'm going to share what I've learned with you. Okay, let's do this. Now, the first point I would like to make today is probably the most important, and it's probably not what you're expecting. It's not exactly what successful students do or don't do. It's what they are or what they are not. And successful Cambridge English exam students are not cocky. Now, when I say cocky, I mean overly confident. And I'm speaking specifically about their level of English, not in general. Successful Cambridge English exam students are not overconfident and cocky. They understand that they need to work hard to pass the exam. I've noticed that some students think, well, I've been studying English for all my life, I have a good level, or maybe I speak to English people in English all the time, I don't have big problems. Maybe even I've lived in an English-speaking country for some time. So, I have a good level. Imagine if they're preparing for the advanced, I have a strong advanced level. I don't really need to prepare too much. I can just go straight in and pass. And that's the biggest mistake you can make, because passing a Cambridge English exam is not just about having the level. It's about being prepared and knowing the exam very well. So if you're cocky, if you're overly confident, you're not going to take it seriously enough to pass. And I've seen that so many times, that students with a good level, a good strong advanced or even proficiency level, fail the exams just because they don't prepare enough and they're too confident. They think their level is enough. It's not enough. You need to prepare. So that's the first and probably the most important point I want to make today. The second point is that successful Cambridge English exam students are organized. Now, when you decide that you want to get the certificate, you want to take a Cambridge English exam, you may sit down and look at what you have to do. You look at the format of the exam and you'll see you have reading and use of English, which is 7 or 8 parts. You have the writing, which is 2 parts. You have the listening, which is 4 parts. The speaking is 4 parts. And all the grammar you have to learn, all the vocabulary you need to learn or to revise at least. And you think, well, where do I start? What do I do? Where do I approach this from? And that's why you need to be organized. You need to have a plan. You need to think about how you're going to approach your studies, your preparation. Because you may find, if you're not organized, that a week before the exam you realized, I haven't practiced an article in the writing, or I haven't really done part 4 of the use of English, or I kind of know part 3 of the speaking, but not very well, because maybe you missed it out in your preparation because you weren't organized. And this leads me on to the next point, is that a successful Cambridge English exam student keeps a vocabulary book, their own personal dictionary, so to speak, because you need to expand your vocabulary. It's so important, of phrasal verbs, collocations, linking words, common expressions. So any new word, any new expression you learn, you have to add to your dictionary. It's very important. Partly to learn new words, but also to move passive vocabulary into your active vocabulary. Because you know a lot of words, you've probably been studying English for a long time, but you're going to need to use them now, not just know them, not just have them in the back of your mind. You're going to need to use them. And also related to organization is starting your preparation early. It's a big mistake to think you can prepare for the Cambridge English exams in a couple of weeks or a month or even 2 months. You need to give yourself about 6 months or a year to prepare. I mean, if you have recently taken another Cambridge English exam, maybe you're studying for the Cambridge Advanced and you took the first certificate, the B2 First, 6 months ago or a few months ago and within the last year, then then you have an advantage because you know the structure and the format of the exam. They're very similar exams. So maybe you'll need less time depending on the real level you have. But generally you need a lot of time to prepare for these exams. So a successful Cambridge English exam student starts preparing early. And they also study the exam. It's not that they study for the exam, that they study the exam. As I said, you need to know the format very well. You need to get to know this exam like the back of your hand, as I've said in a previous video. That's extremely important. Again, a cocky student will not really take it seriously enough to get to know every detail, every part of the exam, what is expected of you, and how to answer each question, how to approach each part of the exam. So that's very important. And a successful student will focus on their weaknesses without ignoring their strengths. Okay, maybe that's quite obvious. You need to focus on your weaknesses because you need to get all your skills up to a good level. So if your listening is your weakness, then practice listening, do the practice tests, watch films in English, listen to podcasts in English, etc. That's quite obvious, I guess. Focus on your weaknesses, but without ignoring your strengths. Now, to pass a Cambridge English exam, you need to get over a certain threshold, a certain points threshold. And if you have a disaster, a really bad score in, for example, the speaking, your speaking is your weakness, it's just that you have a really bad day, you can compensate by getting a really good score in the writing. So you don't necessarily have to do well in all the skills. Of course, it's much better if you do well in all the skills. That's the objective. That's what you need to try to achieve. But that's why it's important to not to ignore your strengths. You may think, I don't need to improve my writing. That's my strong area. That's my forte. But you do. You need to get that as high as possible because that could be the difference between a pass and a fail, to compensate for your weakest area. So yeah, focus on your weaknesses, of course, but don't ignore your strengths. You need to work on all your skills. And successful Cambridge English exam students are also consistent with their studies. Now, I've said in other videos that consistency is more important than intensity. That's true in learning English in general, but also when you're studying for an exam. Many students make the mistake of obsessing with the exam, with their studies, with their revision, and every day studying intensively, and in the end they burn out because they can't maintain that level for enough time to get to the exam. Often you have other things in your life. You have school, university, your work, your family. It's very difficult to maintain that high level of intensity consistently over the months that you are preparing for the exam. So it's better just to do something every day, something little every day, maybe just study one part of the exam or read one article in English, but consistently, more or less every day. I'm not saying literally every day, but something regularly. So consistency is more important than intensity. And that leads me on to the last point. A successful student knows when to take a break. Again, I spoke about this in a very recent video about generally studying English. Again, with the Cambridge English exams, it's important to take a break sometimes. That's not contradicting my last point. Consistency is important, so to study regularly. But to take a break occasionally, take a day off, a weekend off, that's okay. You don't want to burn out. You don't want to create a bad relationship with the exams. You want to enjoy your studies if possible. So, if you feel it's getting a bit too much, stop, take a break, and then go back when you feel more energized and more motivated to continue. Okay, let me know if you have any other tips that you can share with us. Maybe you've taken a Cambridge exam in the past and now you're studying for the next level. You can all help each other in the comments. Don't forget to join my Telegram group. Lots of enthusiastic and motivated students there helping each other. Hit the subscribe button because I'm going to be making more and more of these videos to help you with the Cambridge English exams. Okay, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again very soon for another video. Bye.